Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jason and I'm your watch guy today. Before I start to tell you about the watch that we will be reviewing today, I need to say a huge thank you to Z the Watcher. If you haven't seen his channel yet, then I don't know what rock you are living under, but let me coax you out of there. Go and check it out. He is absolutely fantastic. He has two channels, one where he reviews watches and another where he mods them, and I love his mod videos. They're absolutely fantastic and they give me so many ideas that cost me so much money. It's ridiculous. Now he's lent me this one to review, which is a massive help because these aren't the cheapest watches to pick up, especially by Aliexpress standards, which is a little bit of a hint to what we are doing today. We are reviewing the San Martin Grand Seiko Homage. You know, the one that came out last year and everyone was like, well, that's a bit too much money for something that's a homage of a watch. That's way too much for something that's on AliExpress. Well, that's the one that we're reviewing today. And I'm going to be telling you why I think all of those opinions were wrong. Yeah. Again, another little spoiler for you. If you'd like to pick this watch up, then I have my affiliate link in the description as to the official San Martin store. Please use that if you are going to buy it because it really helps out the channel. I get a little bit of a kickback, but you don't pay any extra. Now, without further ado, let me turn this camera around and let's review this watch. So guys, this is the San Martin Grand Seiko Homage. Now, you've seen me review one other San Martin on the channel, and that was one where I had to admit that I was wrong about San Martin. I thought the quality probably wasn't as good as people made out because of how little you're probably going to pay for one of these in comparison to Swiss brands or non-AliExpress brands, to be more precise. And I reviewed my first one late last year, and yeah, I was completely wrong. The finishing on these are absolutely ridiculous for the pricing. I likened it to one of my low-end Swiss watches, the likes of Hamilton, that this is the type of quality that you're looking at getting into one of those watches. That's the type of finishing that you'd expect in them. Now this is one that kind of caused a little bit of controversy when it was released, and that was because of the price it was released at. I'm pretty sure that I sat around the $500 mark. Now I don't think San Martin has ever released one that expensive, at least not a stainless steel standard watch before anyway. Now you can pick this up with a PT5000 movement or an SW200 movement. This one's been sent to me by the Watcher. He's been kind enough to loan this to me so I can do a review, and I'm pretty sure he picked up the PT5000 variant. Now that one will come in at £280. If you wanted the SW200 movement, it is £379. Both actually, when I think about it, are really good prices for what you get in this watch. I'm just going to move the handset so we can have a bit more of a visibility on this dial. Now this is not what you'd consider a small or medium-sized watch, or average-sized watch, I guess. It is 44.5 millimeters in diameter, 50.6 millimeters lug to lug. It is 13.6 millimeters thick, and we have 22 millimeter wide lugs on this one. We also have drilled lugs, which will make it very easy to switch out the bracelet here. However, I don't think you'll ever want to, because one of the real selling points of this watch is the bracelet and how well it's finished. It's absolutely spectacular for the price. Now this is a homage to the Grand Seiko Diver that you may have seen on the likes of Instagram, or if you're lucky enough, in person. Now I'm pretty sure they set you back about 10 times what this watch will, more even. So this is a nice budget option to get that type of aesthetic without absolutely blowing the bank. Now this is built in 316L stainless steel throughout. We have a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces throughout also. Really nice high polish sides on this one. I'm not usually a fan of a high polish side because you're gonna scratch it eventually, but the finishing on it really does warrant that. Now we have lineal brushing on the top of the lugs and some really nice curvatures towards the bracelet. Also makes a very slimming effect for this watch, or this watch case, while the bezel really does have a little bit of heft to it. The casing slightly curves to form two crown guards either side of this screw down crown. We have good levels of grip on this one, and it has the St. Martin shark on the crown. Now, I'm wondering if they've got a factory full of these at the minute, because I don't see why they keep putting the shark onto the watch. It's just a bit weird, because that's the logo for me now. So why the shark? I don't get it. A little bit weird. Now, I do like that the brushing flows into the bracelet. I think that gives a nice aesthetic. We have a screw down case back on the back, quite a plain one on here. It does have the shark logo embossed again. Again, as I say, I don't quite know why, because the rest of it is branded with the St. Martin hexagon, which is a much nicer branding in my opinion. This is a 120 click unidirectional bezel. We have the usual indicators around the outer edge, all printed in a very, very legible white. Just click that back to center. We have the triangle up at 12 o'clock, and it has a Lume pip in the center. The ceramic bezel insert really does reflect the light very well. Now, beyond that, we have a very pronounced gear-like shaping to the bezel itself. Makes it super easy to grip hold of, but as well as that, it gives it a little bit of distinction. It makes a little bit of a feature of itself, which I really do like. It does slightly overhang the case. If you look from the side there, again, makes it really easy to use. We have some circular brushing on the upper side, which really blends it to the rest of the upper side of the casing. We have a sapphire piece of crystal in this one, and altogether this casing provides the watch with 200 meters of water resistance, which is exactly what we would expect from a dive watch, and I'd be pretty confident taking this one into the water. I don't think St. Martin are going to let us down with that rating. As we move past the casing, we're looking at this very flat black dial. It's in a matte effect, and when you catch it in the right light, it almost gives it a grey tone. Very flat texture to it. We have a black chaptering around the outer edge of the dial. Now, that really does make that dial flow into the bezel very nicely. As you can see, there's no breaking for any stainless steel or any steel components of this watch. It is black to black to black, which is a really nice flow for the design. We have a date window at the 3 o'clock that has a white border around it. It is not colour matched, it is white in colour also. It seems to sit slightly further into the centre of the dial than I would have liked. I think that's probably because this dial is larger than the usual dials that this PT5000 movement is fitted with. The indices themselves are applied. We have the triangle up at 12 o'clock. We have batons at 9 and 6. And the rest of the indices are circular. They're all loomed, and they all have a polished stainless steel effect border to them, which is really quite a premium look, to be fair. Up at the 12 o'clock, just below this triangle, we have the St. Martin logo. This is my favourite of the St. Martin logos. There's plenty that they've got now, but this one is probably my favourite to pick from the bunch. Down at the 6 o'clock, we have automatic, 200 meters, and this very, very broad handset. I'm going to zoom in as far as I can just to show you. There's a lovely level of brushing on that handset, which I am going to try and capture with the camera as well as I can. But it's such a premium effect. You don't get that very often in watches of this type of price. So it's very nice to see that St. Martin have accomplished that. The real question with that Lume though is, how good is it? So let's turn off the lights and let's find out. One thing that you can always expect from St. Martin is that they provide the Lume that they should. It's a really good level, it's well spread, and it's well covered on the indices. Even the smaller indices, they've done quite a good job to get that much Lume onto them to give them this effect. It's not fading very quickly at all, and I still can't spot any patches, whereas with other watches I probably would have by now. One thing that I will note though is that the counterbalance of the second hand is loomed, which kind of doesn't give you the indication of where the second hand is. It gives you the opposite idea. I'm not too sure about how much I like that, to be honest. I mean, in fairness, it can still be used as a second hand. It's just not going to be as accurate as you'd like. So that is one little moan or little niggle for me. The Lume pip is also quite a bright lume. I would have liked to see the entire bezel lumed, however. As we move past the head of this watch, and it is a pretty big one, we move on to this bracelet, and it's a really lovely bracelet. I was talking to the watcher about it, and honestly, we both agreed that one of the best features of the watch, or something that we were both pretty much fixated on, was the finishing on this strap or this bracelet. It's just absolutely fantastic. We have male end links on this one, obviously solid end links, and as I mentioned prior, we do have drilled lugs. Now there is a center effect of polish either side of the center link. These links are one piece and not three, unfortunately, but it still does fit very nicely to wrist, and we have a nice level of taper towards the clasp. Now this is the standard San Martin clasp that you'd expect to see. We have the hexagon logo once again embossed onto that clasp. Really nice level of brushing. We have polished chamfered edges. Another thing to note is that we actually have chamfered edges along the bracelet, which gives a nice level of polish also to the effect. Double pushers here, milled clasp as you would expect, and we have 4 levels of micro adjust, which I think is a fair amount. Now one downside to this bracelet is that it is pin and collar. It is a niggly one, but to be honest, it didn't give me that much trouble. Not as much trouble as a Seiko usually does, put it that way. Now let me pop this on wrist while I consider my moan section, because genuinely there's not much in there. So funny enough, with my 6.2 inch wrists, it still fits absolutely brilliantly. It curves very nicely towards the wrist and makes that watch, that 44.5mm, very, very wearable. Now it is 50.6mm lug to lug, so it does have that sort of Seiko effect in the sizing, but with the curvature to lugs, it just amplifies that and really does make it very nice to wear, very easy to wear. But it's definitely one that you notice that you have on wrist. It is a heavy fella. So let's talk about those moans. First of all, the consistency in the logos. I spoke about this one in the Seamaster 300 Homage review. Now, this shark logo, it's nice, and maybe if it was just on the case back, I'd get it, but I feel like there's a little bit of inconsistency still there between the logos. I think they just go for this hexagonal logo throughout and just leave it at that. Not as bad as the Seamaster 300, because that had like 5 or 6. No, I'm exaggerating. There was about 3 on there, which was annoying enough, but I feel like they need to get one logo down and just stick to that. To be fair, I am being quite critical with this shark logo, because obviously they have signed it, so that's a step up from something like a Seiko, and it is relevant, so fair enough. However, I don't know, I just feel like it should have been the hexagonal logo over that one. Secondly, the sizing of this watch. It's not going to be for everyone. It is a chunky watch. However, it does fit very nicely, so it is wearable. However, not everyone is going to enjoy a bigger watch, so do bear in mind the size of this. It is still a 44.5mm watch. Whether it fits well or not, it's still that diameter. Thirdly, it's going to be an objective one, and it is the price. Now, £280, £370, £380. The argument is going to be that you can pick up a decent standard Seiko for this type of price. However, my argument would be that this is much better. The only thing that San Martin don't have on Seiko at this price range is the name. And factually, that is it. Seiko obviously have the brand and the, let's consider customer service nailed, because they are a much bigger corporation. However, San Martin are making better watches at this price range, and that says a lot in the budget market. That does a lot in the budget market. So while I love Seiko, this is definitely a better watch, sub £400. And given the option, if someone asked me if I wanted a turtle or this, I'd probably take this off them. So guys, that is the second San Martin you've seen me review on the channel, and if I'm completely honest, this is even better than the last one. They make some fantastic watches, and if you haven't picked one up yet or you've never experienced one, I really do suggest that you give them a go, because the quality in these watches for the prices that they are offering them at is fantastic. Again, thank you to the watcher for sending this to me. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you go and check out his channel. If you'd like to pick this watch up, I'd really appreciate you using the affiliate link in the description. It really helps the channel more than you'd ever expect. Thank you for watching this one, guys. Please remember to subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in the next one.